So now let's get to our second set of buyers. That is the good old consumer market. Okay, now we could ask ourselves some of the same questions that we did here. So for example, are consumers price sensitive? Let's include that question. Are consumers price sensitive? So are we likely to shop around on the basis of price to buy our PCs? Yep, yes. And are we knowledge about PCs? Are we knowledge about PCs? Yes. Generally, people have an understanding of what PCs do, of what they're capable of, and in fact, a lot of people consider, we consider PCs to be commodities. So items that aren't easily differentiable. And so as an example, it's almost like wheat is a commodity, or other grains and other agricultural products, because they're not similar, they're not that amenable to distinctiveness. So when we think of wheat, it's not like we would go to some particular place because it has better quality wheat. We just assume that pretty much wheat is the same. So in the same way, a lot of people think of PCs as generally having the same capabilities, so why not shop around on the basis of price? And are we willing, willing to pay for service and support? Not really, not generally. So taken together, here's a summary on powerful buyers. Buyers are powerful to the extent that they can either A, drive down prices, or B, get businesses, organizations to invest in more attributes that are differential and or differentiating, so to speak. And because the consumer market buys a lot, that is, the large corporations buy a lot, it gives them buying power. And because consumers are so willing to switch, they can enhance, they can switch easily, and thus create situations for companies where they're trying to differentiate their products or dropping their prices. So in summary, we're a fairly powerful buyers, fairly powerful buyers, which diminishes industry. Oops. Gotta hate it when an extra T gets in there. Profitability. So that's one way of looking at the first of all of the 5 forces. So now I'm kind of bugged about this, so I'm going to highlight this better. Okay, there we go. So now let's get to barriers of entry. And so the question here is, how hard is it to enter the PC business? What do you need? So how hard is it? Is it hard to find and buy components that are needed to build a computer? And the answer is components, believe it or not, for those who aren't techies, are readily available. Readily/widely available. Excuse me. And standardized, right? A disk drive generally does the same thing no matter who makes it. A monitor does the same thing no matter who makes it. So when you think about it, these components are around for anybody who wants to actually use them. Okay, and frankly, assembly can be done in your home, can be done in your, quote, garage, as many techie businesses were started in garage. You basically need a screwdriver or some things that can snap together the components. And distribution can be done fairly cheaply. So think about in the classified ads, can be done through classified ads, through the web, among others. So it's not that tough or very expensive. Customers, as we know, are fairly price sensitive and knowledgeable. Again, they know that the PCs are generally a commodity product. And so think about how popular the case reads that white boxes are. Popularity of white boxes. Okay, and especially in emerging markets. So they mentioned that a white box, that is like a small homegrown company that makes basic PCs, it's something like 30% of the market, or it is 30% of the market, according to the case. And if you remember, there's heavy usage in what's called the SOHOs. SOHOs, which are, if you remember, small office, home office users. And why are white boxes so dang popular? Dang popular. Well, it's because they're customized products at low prices with the potential of local service. So, in fact, oh, maybe I put it lower than this. Let's do a little yellow strip here. So, summary on barriers to entry. The barriers to entry are actually rather low. Okay, and in fact, few industries have lower entry barriers, which to be sure limits industry profitability, because that means that there can be a lot of competitors who either do enter the market or threaten to do so. If there's a perception that people can easily enter the market, then a company like Apple is going to take pains to spend money to drive up those barriers. So like spend money on R&D so that you can have a proprietary software. So this limits, in fact, industry profitability. Now, so rivalry within the PC industry. How bad is price rivalry, for example? Now, so keep in mind that this notion of the fact that PCs are considered to be a commodity. Okay, so they're commodity items, which means you'll switch easily among products as long as if they're not of the price that you're looking for. So, for example, there is bad price rivalry in the business, and part of the issue is this whole notion of open standards. Okay, the idea that the knowledge that is used to make PCs is well known, and how to build the components, etc. So the fact that there are open standards has led to situations where everybody knows how to do it, and everybody can do it in the same way, because it's hard to differentiate if all the standards are available to you, so you can just copy what everybody else is doing. And because PCs are perceived as commodities, there is a tendency to compete on the basis of price. Okay, tendency. And in fact, the asking prices for average selling prices, have declined, according to the case, 8 to 10% per year between 1999 and 2005. Now, there have been slower price declines in recent years, but note, again, that's a lot to decrease in that time frame. And another issue so to be sure, again, that means that there's a tendency to lower prices because you can't easily differentiate yourself. And there's also this notion of very rapid technological obsolescence. Which exacerbates price cutting. When you think about it, if I spelled that wrong, since I believe that's right. Okay, when you think about it, if technology or products become obsolete fairly quickly because technology is rapidly advancing, then it is incumbent upon the people who've created an inventory of that product to sell it. And as a consequence, the best way to do it is to price cut. So to be sure, there is a lot of rivalry within the industry, either in the form of price cutting or a few companies spending more money, like Apple, to try and differentiate themselves. So as a summary, let's see, let's copy, format that format. And I don't want it there. Oops. I had too much coffee. My hand's moving. Summary statement here about rivalry. There are many producers leading to a tough rivalry. And remember, to the extent that there's a rivalry and price cutting, it transfers profits from would-be companies to consumers in the form of better prices. So this doesn't make it that great to be in the PC market. Now, how about substitutes? Are there substitutes that could pose, I don't know why this line went, a significant long-term threat, or, I won't even write that, could replace PCs? And the answer is there are a number of actual substitutes. So for one, smartphones. Smartphones do a lot of PC-esque things like calendaring, we'll put emailing, calendars. Your smartphone can do that. So that's one of a key functionality of PCs. We also have TV set-top boxes, like, say, the good old TiVo, old school, and Comcast. They do some of the things that PCs do. Video game consoles, for all you gamers, consoles, and the case mentions this, like Sony PlayStation. They do it. You can play video games. For one, you can watch TV at times through your actual video game console or access the internet, if I'm correct in that. I'm not a huge gamer, but I do like FIFA soccer. So, but they nonetheless have some functionality that PCs do. You check our time on this. We have a little bit more time. And, let's ask ourselves, what is the average price of these substitutes? About $300, according to the case. And are they a threat? Are they a threat to PC makers? Yep. Yes, absolutely. They're a big one. They appear to be putting downward pressure on PCs because if PCs don't lower their prices, people will just start to buy more smartphones and not use PCs in the first place. And the emergence of notebooks, which are in the range of $300 to $500, has been one response to the PC industry to having a highly mobile product that could compete with the substitutes. So again, as a summary statement, we'll do this. Summary. The existence of substitutes could push prices down further. Let me go to our next video.